let me finish.
Okay, well, I thought I had, but go ahead.
Okay, y'all, let's take turns and let each other finish.
Welcome to Let Me Finish, the podcast where three minds give their unfiltered and sometimes unpopular opinions on all the craziness going on in our lives and in this world. We're your hosts, Jillian,
Janice.
And Michael.
Settle in and let's take a deep dive.
Welcome back to another episode of Let Me Finish. I am your host. I'm Janice.
I'm Jillian.
Okay, guys, so we're just going to dive right in, and I'll talk about how my week has been or is or went. Okay, because today is technically Monday. We've been a little delayed on our recordings. But yeah, let's see. What did I do this week? This weekend, I did go out multiple times.
Okay.
I went out to dinner at Restoration Hardware.
Ooh, love that
place. Which is good. I got the roasted chicken because, as we all know, I've been counting points. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I'm counting points. What can I have? So I got a roasted chicken. I had like a little mashed potato underneath, which is really good. And I drank some wine. So I did that on Thursday, met up with two friends, and then I hadn't seen them for a while, or at least I hadn't seen one of them for a while. And then on Saturday, Friday, I actually did take off. So I took off on Friday and I went to go and look for apartments because I was looking and thinking of moving. I've been in my apartment a really long time, like 6 years. So I was like, okay, I'd like a little more space for what I'm paying. I'm paying quite a bit. Let me see if I can get a 2-bedroom something. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to find something. Not far from where I live now. It's actually like right up the street, but it's in a convenient spot. One of the things I liked about it though, Jill, is that it said like they have like in the back, they have like spare or like empty apartments. Mm-hmm. And so you can actually, like, if you're a resident, you can rent them out like or Airbnb, like if you have family coming into town and like you need an extra space. Mm-hmm. So they have like basically their own little apartments, like an Airbnb rental. So that's cool.
That's nice.
And they have
that's only available to actual tenants. Okay,
like
cool.
People that they would rent it out for the people that they want to stay there. So it's not like any random off the street person can come rent it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's just for people. And I think it's only probably no longer than a week at a time, I would think. Mm-hmm. And then another thing they had on there, which I really like at the apartments, it's their amenities, is a pickleball court. So I was like, oh, look, we can go play pickleball.
So pickleball court, I'm assuming
multiple
nice pools.
Multiple, yeah. They do have multiple pools, grilling station. So I was actually looking, and they have this place called The Lodge, and it's off of like, it has this like infinity pool, and it's like overlooking into a lake. So I was like, well, maybe I could do, and then it's like what?
I'm sorry, the name of, you were looking at?
It's called The Lodge. That's not the name of the apartments.
Okay.
That's just the amenity.
Oh, okay.
Inside of, like, it's just like, they call it The Lodge. It's not where I actually live.
Okay.
And then, so it's like, but it's like basically their community center. Mm-hmm. And then they have, so yeah, it's like a pool, and it's like an infinity pool, overlooks into a lake. And so that's really cool, because I was like, okay, well, and there's like a clubhouse behind it. So I was like, maybe I can rent it out for my birthday or something and do a party or something there.
Nice.
And it'd be fun. Yeah.
That would be nice.
So yeah, other than that, and then yesterday I really just relaxed. I mean, that's why I just said, Julian was like texting me in the morning. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do anything today. Mm-hmm. I want to relax. I want to just enjoy my time. But Saturday night, I did end up meeting out my best friend and her fiance. We went and had a couple drinks. They were in the area having date night. So they were like, hey. So I third wheeled it up, baby.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good that you guys are able to hang out.
I keep saying there's this meme, and it's like it's 3 old people, and it's like an old man and woman holding hands walking to a movie theater, and there's like an old woman behind them walking in. I was like, oh, that'll be me. Yeah.
No, I'm putting it out there. You're gonna have your partner to double date with.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, she's dying for it. She's like, I just really want you to meet your person. I was like, is this a selfish reason you want me to meet my person, or is it because you want me to be happy? Well, a little bit for me, but mostly for you.
Yeah, there you go. So we're gonna put it out there. Yeah, you're gonna meet that
I think you just actually have to attempt to date, and I have not been doing that. So, and I don't see a time right now where I want to. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean,
When
I
it's time, it's
went through a
time.
lot of stuff recently, so I'm just like,
Yeah, you've been through a lot.
it's like a lot of energy to meet somebody and do that whole, what's your favorite color? What do you like to do for fun? What are you looking for? I hate that.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah. It's hard because there's just like, the person has to be worth it. Like,
Well, it's just like, especially online, it's like that whole, like once they message or you message, and it's like, it's a back and forth messaging. And then it's just like, I get bored of that super, super easy, like crazy easy. So
I mean, there shouldn't be a long
I
period.
leave them on red quite a bit. Like, it's like, why did you not respond? I was like, got bored.
I mean, that little texting back and forth thing. I mean, I don't think you should be doing that more than 2 weeks before you meet in person.
No.
Okay.
I won't even, but I'll barely do it for like 2 days. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you have to do that part to figure out if you actually really want to meet them. So, and people are like, well, just go on the date. Just go. I'm like, but then what if I don't want to go on a whole bunch of random dates with people I barely even,
No.
not even that I know them, but I don't even know if I vibe with you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to have that
But
awkward.
how do you know if you vibe with somebody if you don't meet them in
Through
person?
messaging. I think, like,
Oh,
sometimes
yeah.
when you message them for a little bit, you get an idea or of their even their sense of humor. Like,
Some people aren't good at that.
I'm not, and I'm not. I really am not. Like, I can be, but I have to make like a concerted effort to do that, and I'm just not in a position to make any type of effort. Like, I'm this close to being like, here, Lincoln, I'm gonna share my details with you, and you just message them.
Yeah.
You message them for me, set the dates up, and I'll go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I
that's
mean, you
where
have to
I'm
be
at.
you have to be in the headspace, so I totally get that.
Yeah. So hopefully by like, and again, I'm trying to work on my fitness and get my body back healthy after all those surgeries and getting my muscle back. And so I haven't been able to be active for a while. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm focused on right now. And yeah, I think just even the confidence to go out and all that has to be there. So,
Yeah. Well, you just have to spend time and focus on yourself.
and yep, that's what I've been doing.
So yeah, just enjoy that time period. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do. So, but that's pretty much it. That's
Yeah.
me, guys.
Yeah. So for me, it's end of month, so it's pretty crappy. End of month at
Do y'all
work.
go through like end of month pushes and stuff at your job?
So I actually work collections. I don't know if I've said I've worked in banking. I don't think I've ever specifically said what I do in banking.
People are probably like, oh, I can see that.
So I do collections, and so typically, so towards the end of the month, for loans that had a due date of the 1st, we start doing calls at the end of the month before they hit, so like the last five or so days of the month, we start doing calls. And so, I mean, I'll probably work.
Oh, because they're trying to get those payments before the 1st of the month.
Oh, that's when we start doing, because we, our normal thing, we'll do past due notices, and if we still don't have a payment by then that's when we will go through and pull a report of and I'll drop into my queue to work. Okay, these people are X amount of days now. We need to call, I'll review the account and see if maybe something that we messed up on. And then once I review the account and say, okay, no, that we really haven't gotten the payment, or maybe we did get a payment, it wasn't enough to clear the payment. That's when we start doing courtesy calls out to customers, trying to be, hey, what's going on?
What's the, because I know like typically when it comes to debt collection, like they can't call you more than a certain amount of time or after a certain hour. You guys abide by all those rules?
Yes.
I bet they're like, you're harassing me. You're probably like, no, ma'am, you owe the money. So sorry,
I mean, I don't call them
incessantly.
And no, I mean, at most, maybe I'll make one call, maybe once every 3 business days. So at max, you'll hear from me.
Do you guys have a call cadence on those?
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Like you have to call it every day, twice a day for 3 days.
Okay, so it's by the collector's discretion.
Oh, okay.
So as far as me personally, as a collector, every collector has their own style, style and process, and it really comes down to the collector and also the customer. So if it is okay, you've never been in collections before. Something else is going
I've been on the other side of collections.
So if it's a customer that's a good payer, and then all of a sudden we don't see, I mean, it could be, I mean, I've had to do skip trace and realize, oh my gosh, this person is actually dead. So that's happened before where so
you skip trace?
Yes.
Look at you, girl.
I do have to do skip tracing, and sometimes, I'll come back, hey, this person, this information you provided, this person's actually reported as deceased, and usually I can go in and Google and pull up obituaries off that information as well. I'll do that too.
Do you ever find that it's been fraud?
As far as the loans?
Yeah.
Not me personally, but if it is due to fraud, I don't work those, so
yeah,
you
gave the loan, now you're starting to contact Joe Blow, and then all of a sudden, by the time you figure, Joe Blow's been dead for 15 years, how did we?
Okay, so no, I haven't experienced anything like that, because for just working in the bank, just to get the loan and the process, it's a lot. You have to bring your document. No, it's not easy.
So
and
it's so crazy.
These are actually mortgages that I'm working. So there's a lot of stuff that goes along before you actually get down and sit down and sign for the mortgage. So maybe a personal loan.
And sit down and sign. That makes sense.
I'll give you maybe a personal loan if somebody maybe applied online. Maybe that, but not might like a happen, mortgage. But you still have to go in and sign in person. But a mortgage, nah.
Why did somebody tell me today in my department? He was like, "Hey, I want to get my account approved, or whatever." And then he was like, "Yeah, but they're asking for a driver's license." I was like, "What? Like, what do you mean you didn't get a driver's license?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know." I was like, "That is like
you have to
required document." I said, "And if they have been approving anything without an ID, that's wild to me."
Yeah. That's crazy.
Like, that is definitely underwriting 101. And then as I'm trying to explain to him, he was just like, "Well, I just don't know. I mean, they have the social." I'm like, I can get anybody's social. Doesn't mean I'm them.
Yeah, exactly.
I can get a lot of people's information. I mean, I was like, people be buying stuff on the dark web. So
yeah,
I was like,
the majority
and he was just like, but they could still be. I was like, I know, but it's a layer. It's a layer of protection.
Right.
Like, you might have gotten. Now you have to have not only my information, but you have to have access to my ID. So I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but there's more people that have access to just the information and not the ID. So I was like, it's just funny to me. I was just like, I mean, how long have we been doing this? I mean, these are basically loans, like, because, it's payment processing. So you're basically advancing you're the capital of the funds. Like, you're allowing somebody to process this much in transactions. If they end up not being able to pay it or chargebacks or whatever, who do you think has to pay for it? The person that basically advanced it.
Yeah.
Us.
Yeah.
It's a loan.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yes, it's crazy. But so when it comes to collections, it's, like I said, max 2-3 times a week. Now, if it's a person who is habitual, I may not call them as often. And I do early stage. I don't do late stage. So I don't take the customer all the way through to foreclosure. So I do early stages. So
you're like the nice person. You're just up the upfront.
The upfront. So, and usually I have mortgage. Now, consumer loans, so car loans, personal loans, stuff like that. I do work those all the way until charge off, but specifically for mortgages, those I only work the first between 25 and 35. Okay. So once they get more than 35 days past due, it escalates, and the person who it escalates to, they take it all the way to foreclosure. So, so that's a little different.
You're not that mean.
No, I'm not that mean.
You're just a little mean.
I'm not that. I don't think I'm mean at all. I just feel like...
Pay your bills, sucker.
No, it's not even that, because I understand people go through hard times. It's just one of those things where I always tell my friend, it's just like, look, I match energy. If you say, oh my gosh, I've been going through this, and this, I'm a little bit more compassionate. But if you come with an attitude, why are you calling me? Da 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 da. I'm just like... Da, 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 da. I was just like, dude, for somebody who owes money, you have a lot of attitude in a lot of take
You
the
got a
bass
lot
at your
of bark
voice.
in your bite.
Yeah, I was just like, you need to
You
take
should be
that.
licking my hand.
Yeah,
honey.
I'm like, look, you got a lot of bass in that voice for somebody who
Take it back.
I don't owe you money. You owe the bank money. So it's a little different. So it really is a case by case basis. It's not like you have to call them on.
Okay, so it's not that stringent.
No, it's not. It really comes down to the individual collector and then also the customer.
Okay.
So you find that balance, and once you've done it a long time, you'll find that balance. Now every bank is different. Every collection, I work for the actual bank. I don't work for a collection agency. So this is the actual bank's loans. So
They're trying to deal with it at the lowest level possible.
Yeah. So
They're not ready trying to, hey, we're finna vote. Yeah, they're not going there immediately yet.
And it takes, when it comes to foreclosure, anything that's secured by real estate, it does take a really long time before you actually get to the foreclosure aspect. And banks really don't want to foreclose. It really comes down, we don't have any other option because nobody wants, it's a tedious process to foreclosure because you're trying to sell the property and make a profit and all, and be able to get all your money back. So the last thing the bank wants to do. So it takes a really long time. I've had customers who've been in houses months, like 6 before we even send it to the courthouse to get auctioned off on the steps of the courthouse. You could probably be in that house 6 months.
6 months is not that long.
Yeah. Easily, like to the point where, like, if you get foreclosed on, if you stop paying and just let it go to foreclosure, it'll take months. And then what happens is that the person who buys it, they have to evict you.
What?
Yeah, if you stay in the house.
What? So you telling me they can still technically squat?
Technically, it's happened before where they've had to have the sheriffs come out and kick people out. Yeah, most people by the time,
when do squatters' rights really have rights?
Well, I mean, but most of the time, because customers, like I said, because it takes so long for it even to go to foreclosure, which foreclosures, I'm giving y'all an inside thing. When it comes to foreclosures, those are only, the courthouses only do the auctions where people can come and buy the properties. Mm-hmm. Those are only done once a month. And it varies from place to place, but it's like, I believe, it's the first Tuesday of the month.
Would you recommend somebody buying a foreclosure home?
It depends, because you're buying it. Sometimes you're just looking at the outside. You're not seeing on the inside. Oh, so you may not. It's not like you're gonna go do. It's an as-is sale, and it's not like you're gonna go do a walkthrough and an inspection and all that stuff. So here it is. We pretty much just want our money back.
But it's so cheap, right?
It depends. So typically,
so much cheaper than it could.
Here's the thing. Here's a catch. It depends on how much that customer. I mean, we still want fair market value, but there have been times where
you want market value. Oh no, bro. If it ain't cheap, I don't want it.
It's not gonna be. It's not. You can maybe save a couple $1,000s, but you're not.
I mean, you're not gonna
get like a $500,000 home for $100,000.
So yeah, there's no point of going. So what would be the point? I can't look at it either.
So here's the
risk does not.
So people
outweigh
who
the
do
reward.
that, the people who do that,
the risk does outweigh the reward.
Well, the people who do that, they'll buy it, and they're like, hey, even if I have to, let's say I buy a house for, it's a house that's maybe worth. It's foreclosure. People put in their bids or whatever, and then the bank has to accept it. And typically, banks don't want to accept it until they get it's enough to pay off the loan. Anything over that, it's gravy. It's good. But let's say,
so they typically get the loan paid back at least.
The loan yeah. So it is very rare that they'll accept an offer that doesn't at least pay off the loan in full. It has happened, and then typically we'll just have to go. And it depends on if the house is like caught on fire and it's really just studs. We're probably not going to get our money back, but something's better than nothing, and we'll just go after the person who got the loan. But you know, for investors, it's maybe worth it because, like I said, you can save a couple $1,000s, and then not a couple thousand. Yeah, you can save quite a bit of money. You put your investment in and you flip it, or you go live in it. So for some people, it's worth it. So it's mostly going to be investors, and you'd be surprised. It's not just like maybe like sometimes it's like big companies that go and buy these properties and flip them. So, you know, they have people who are professional
I guess if you're
flippers.
doing the flipping, but anything outside of that, I'm like, if I can't see the house, then I'm not buying it. But
yeah, because they know that there's a possibility that there's going to they factor that in when they make their offers. Okay, there's a possibility, and when I say go inside, I mean like you could probably go to the house and like maybe look in the windows and stuff like that, but to actually go through and have like an inspection and all that stuff done, no.
Like you wouldn't know if there's like a mold problem.
No.
Same. Anyways,
so
that was way into the mind of what Julian does.
A little bit of what I do. Like I said, I'm only early stage, and I do other things as well, as far as collections or other types of accounts as far as collections. So yeah, towards the end of the month, I'm a little bit more crabby because, like I said, I'm easily making 70 to 80 calls. I'm working 70, 80 accounts. I'm sorry, not calls. 70, 80 accounts. Yeah. Well, for us, it is.
Okay.
70, 80 that's a lot. It takes a lot. Especially if you're thinking on average, if I'm spending
less than $10 an hour.
Let's say I can do, if I'm working an 8-hour shift and I'm working 80 accounts, that means that on average, I'm spending 6 minutes an account. So if a customer has a lot of questions, I can easily eat through 30 minutes right there.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
So yeah, some is just leaving a voicemail. Others is they're going to have detailed questions and explaining things. So it depends. So it just depends. But other than that, and I think I was able to finish my book about, what was the one with the influencer mom? What was her name? Ruby Frankie's daughter. I told you about that, didn't I? What was her name?
Something like that. You did tell me something about it.
What was her name? Let me look at my The House of My Mother by Sherry Frankie. I was able to finish reading that, and it was so sad. I'm just like, wow, your entire childhood, even before the mom started that YouTube channel, was abuse.
Yeah.
Sad, and I was just like,
true, but
wow.
People be going through it, girl.
Yeah.
People
and I was
go
just
through
like,
a lot.
yeah. And it's just, I felt so sorry for her reading her story. And I was just like, man, the fact that she's able to make it through the other end, it's a miracle. So I'm just like,
yeah.
I
think it's really sad. I think, and anytime I see stuff on TV, it's just hard to watch any type of abuse stories, like physical or sexual, mental, emotional. It's all bad. But I think, the worst is definitely sexual.
Yeah, she was definitely
physical, like
mentally and emotionally abused,
being beaten. Like that's. Gosh, and it's so many people go through stuff like that. I think this is so sad. So.
Yeah, she was definitely mentally and emotionally abused by her mom. And then also I started a new, I don't know why, on my For You page. First of all, my TikTok page, For You page has been
You said it was messed up.
It was. I'm like, why am I getting all this like
MAGA stuff? But it makes you laugh. Is it like comical stuff? Because I get MAGA stuff here and there, but it's like usually them making fun of MAGA people.
No, it's actual MAGA people who, I mean, as soon as I see it, I instantly say I'm not interested and block. Like Fox News popped up. I'm like, oh no, block. I'm absolutely not.
I see the ones where it's like guys interviewing MAGA supporters and they're like asking them questions and they're literally can't answer their questions or think they're answering the question. I'm like, actually, that's not all what he meant.
No, that's not what it is. Because those I enjoy because we're like, okay, you know, but no, dummy. These are actual people who will sit here and have really crappy takes that I'm just like, wow, you're like ain't shit human being, and I'm just like, block.
Yeah, I do too. I don't really block them. I don't really get them. I really don't get them.
I block them. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm like, just to make sure I don't get them anymore, I make sure that TikTok knows I'm not interested in this, and I block them. So I'm just like, nope, you're not going to disturb my peace.
They're just trying to get to you.
No, you're not going to disturb my peace. And then, so one of the things that kept popping up was scenes from a show on Netflix, which I'm kind of hit or miss with Netflix because they tend to cancel shows so quickly. It's called The Lincoln Lawyer. And I've watched the movie with Matthew McConaughey and Ryan Phillippe. I saw that movie many
They
years.
have a show.
Yeah, it's a show.
I
haven't watched it.
No, I watched Limitless, the show.
No. I hadn't watched it. I just started season 1, and I'm like, okay, this is really good because I kept on seeing scenes from this courtroom with this particular actor. I'm just like, what show is this? This is good. And it was Lincoln Lawyer. I'm just like, oh, let me check this out. And so it's been a good little start. I didn't know it was actually the movie and the show is based off a book series. And so I'm just like, oh, even better, because now
I'm gonna go read it, honey.
I'm gonna go read it because I like to read and then go and watch the movie or watch the show because it makes it so much more fun.
There you go.
So yeah.
I have a book in particular. I need 2 books. I actually borrowed a book from my little cousin. I never read it. I need to read that. And then I have another book that it's sitting on my bookshelf. I have a couple. I've been saying this for like months. I need to read this book. So I haven't read anything. But now it sounds like I'll be packing mostly for the next like 2 months. I need to like declutter an apartment that I've been living in for over 5 years. So I'll be doing that mostly the next couple months. But
couple weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no months. I'm not moving until June. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So we want to get into our main topic. So, wait, Jillian, I just completely blocked out. What were we saying?
You were talking about Summer House and a couple in Summer House.
Okay. So so there's a show, Summer House. I watch. It's on Bravo. It's a reality TV show, and it's been going on like 9 seasons. So it's been going on for a while. Really good show. If you haven't watched it and you like reality TV, I would absolutely say check it out. I always tell people to go ahead and start on season 2 because I thought season 1 was quite boring. But anyway, so there's this girl on the show. Her name's Paige, and she was dating this guy named Craig. So mind you, when they start dating, Summer House wasn't as big as Summer Charm, which is another show on Bravo. He's on Summer Charm. Summer Charm.
Okay.
No, sorry. What's Southern Charm? Southern Charm.
Okay, what's the premise of Summer House?
So Summer House is basically they're New Yorkers and they go down to the Hamptons on the weekend. So it's like probably like about my age. And I've been watching the show since I think they were probably like late 20s, early 30s is the people who started the show, and they're probably in their mid to late 30s now. So they're around my age. And this girl, she's younger than me. I think she's like 34. And her boyfriend, his name's Craig. He's on Southern Charm. Okay. Southern Charm is basically just about people who live in the South. I forget which, Charlotte, I think.
Okay.
Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And it's just basically about them and their community and how that people in that city live, and just old Southern people. Like, they're not old. They're definitely around our age. But it's like old Southern charm. I think that's the whole point. That's why they call it Southern charm. So anyway, so it means they have very old time views, and I feel like it's very much reflected in the men on the show.
Traditional, yeah.
Old time views.
Okay.
Yes, traditional.
Traditional.
Sure. So anyway, so she's gotten really popular.
So she's from New York. He's from
North Carolina. Or
okay.
South Carolina. I don't remember.
I haven't watched the show.
They're
so.
Southern. Whatever.
You want me to look it up real quick?
Doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant to the story.
Okay.
But you can look. So anyway, so he's more famous than her, and he was. And so as time has gone on, she has just gained a lot more popularity, and she has a podcast, and it's called Giggly Squad, which got really, really famous. And she does it with one of her friends from the show, who's no longer on the show. So anyway, and she also has like an Amazon page. She does a lot of fashion things. She's just blown up. And so, when they first got together, she was very much like, I love being independent, but yes, I want to have kids. I want to do that. I want to settle down. And of course he was just like, cool, that's exactly what I want. Yeah. But as the years have gone by, you've kind of seen their relationship just kind of drift further and further apart. And seems like it came off to me before this season. And I was like, oh, she's not interested at all in being with this man long term. It doesn't seem like it anymore.
Okay.
And this season is where you really figure out why. Go ahead.
So I just want to, because I don't watch either show.
Yeah, so we gotta catch everybody
Southern
up
Charm,
too.
which I did look up, is based in Charleston, South Carolina.
Charleston, South Carolina.
And he's on Southern Charm.
Correct.
She's on Summer House.
Right. He's been on Southern Charm longer, and that show was more popular at one point.
Okay.
I would say Summer House is now more popular.
Okay.
They met on the show because Southern Charm did a crossover.
Where they went to the Hamptons?
When they went to the Hamptons.
Oh,
right.
okay.
Because they know some people in the house. Because they're all Bravo people, Bravo celebrities. They get to know each other, and then eventually they start crossing over onto shows.
All right, got it.
So he came down. Came up to visit one of the people in the house, and then that's how they met. They were actually in relationships when they met, and then later on ended up getting together.
Okay.
So it came up in this last episode where she was kind of like, I don't understand, I feel some type of way because I feel like I'm the one that kind of changed our narrative of what we wanted, right? But these are also things that I've been working towards a long time. And now that I have it, I'm not willing to just say, oh, you know what? Let me give all this up. Let me not tour. Because she started doing a tour with her podcast. And let me just move to Charleston, South Carolina and start popping out some babies. Because that's really what he wants. He wants her to start having kids. He's like, and I get that. I understand that he wants to have children. He wants that. But he definitely seems like he wants a more submissive woman, because he straight up said it in the last episode. He was like, I would have never seen myself being this submissive in a relationship. And to me, what you said is, I would never have seen myself in a relationship where the woman actually has her own thoughts or her own desires. I should have the desires, and you should be following along with my desires as far as career, where our life's going, the trajectory of how our life is going to progress. For him, I felt like he was thinking, whatever I'm doing, we kind of need to follow that, and that be our main thing. Because he said to her, he was just like, if you continue on this path, I can't see us staying together long term if you continue to stay this busy. So she's just like, what does that mean? Like, so I can't continue like growing this part of my business, my brand, because it's, from what you just said, it's not going to work for you. And so there was a point where she was telling this to one of her best friends on the show, and she's just like, it's just like, and then he said, I guess off camera to her, I'm not going to say on camera that your stuff's bigger than mine. And then her friend's like, and it's funny because you can tell her friend's like, I've been saying this to you, but she didn't want to say it on camera. Like, I've been saying this to you, but she did. And she's just kind of like, she's like, are you dating a low down hater? Like, cause I really think he kind of is, he's just jealous, I think, of her. Cause, the friend Sierra said, it's just like everything that happens, it ends up somehow being the Craig show. Because he's that type of person. He wants to be the center of attention. He wants to be the one that everybody just is like gravitating towards. Or I just think he's just like one of those type of people. And you can tell he's super immature too, because they did the show called The Winter House, and they got so drunk they just started breaking glass and shit on the ground. And then when they were like, hey, can you not do that? We're all barefoot and somebody might step on glass. His reaction wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He's just like, whatever. Why are y'all so boring? This is a party house. Ugh. And then he was like, I don't want to clean. I just pay somebody to do it. You're not going to make me clean. I would never clean. He just looked like such a douche that whole season. I was like, ugh. And that was the moment where I was like, ew. Gross. Like, I was like, Paige, get out. Abort.
So do you think he wouldn't be as upset if maybe his star was bigger than hers? Even though
I think he would expect her to follow.
So let's say his star was even though her star rose,
His rose bigger.
and his rose bigger, would he still be like, okay, when you're going to move down to South Carolina and get married and have kids?
Yeah, I don't think and that's exactly right. I don't think his viewpoint would change no matter what. Me being
But here's the
bigger.
thing.
I think he's jealous of her, but I think even if his star was bigger, his point would be, well, since my star is bigger, why wouldn't you do? If we want this to work, you need to follow me. And because her star is bigger right now, his mindset is more so, well, you just need to slow down.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I think with this particular gentleman is the reason. I don't even think it matters whose star is bigger. The truth of the matter is what he wants
is always going to be more important.
Who's making the sacrifices to make this dream of him settling down and having a family? Who is having to make the sacrifices?
Yeah, definitely. Paige.
You're not.
Well, she said that.
You're not carrying the babies.
She's like, I'm the one that would have to move. I would be the one who have to stop my career because I have to have the babies. And then once the babies come, I'll be the one having to take care of them. Yeah.
And honestly, that's your partner. So for me, you know me, like I said, he's probably really conservative, very traditional. I'm very liberal, a non-traditional kind of person where, yeah, I would have the babies, but that doesn't mean that, hey, maybe you slow down since my star is bigger. Why don't you put a pause in your career and raise a child? Or be more active in raising the child. I'm not saying as a mother when her as a mother would still, so this, you know, she's going to go out there and make the money and maybe you stay home with the child.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you would think. If that's really the only thing it is that you just want to start having a family. But I think he sees his life in a certain way or he saw it and it was, I'm going to be the breadwinner and my wife will follow. Because there was a point where in the relationship she wanted to get an apartment and she wanted, you know, in New York it's way more expensive. She wanted to get a new apartment and he was like, she was talking to the realtor or whatever and he was like, she was just like, well, this is my budget, you know, this is my budget. And then he was like, well, if you want to go bigger, I'll just pay the rest of your rent. And she's like, no. And I think she does have a little PTSD because she said she was in a relationship before where, you know, somebody paid for a trip and then she was just like, well, I think we should go here. And he goes, and I guess his reaction was like, when you start paying for the trips, you can decide where we go.
Ooh.
And I think she has a little PTSD from that because I don't think that's how most men, I don't think that's how a man that I would want to deal with would react. I don't think that would be a reaction that any woman would expect or like, because it's kind of like, oh, because I don't have an opinion because I'm not paying for the trip. So for her, she was just like, I feel like I know if she would have let him start paying for that apartment, he would feel like he had more control over her and a bit of a thumb down on her because you can't afford this apartment without me. So I would prefer you to get a more expensive apartment because he was trying to push her towards a bigger apartment. And she's like, well, no, I can't afford that. I can't afford that. If something happens to us tomorrow, I can't afford that.
You know,
rent.
and it's wise for her because he could also use that as a way to manipulate her into doing things maybe she doesn't want to because she's just like, he's not going to pay the rest of my rent this month.
And I think if she knows her boyfriend well enough, which I think she did, and I think that's a part of the reason why she wasn't comfortable doing it because she was very adamant about no. And I think that's telling to the relationship.
She probably already saw red flags.
I think she did. I think after that show, Winter House, and saw how immature he was acting, I think that's when she was really like, I think it was more so they have fun together, and which is what you want out of your spouse. But I think that's kind of where it stopped.
Yeah.
I don't think that their lives make sense together. She lives in New York. She loves New York. She loves the city, the hustle and bustle. He wants a Southern belle. That's what he wants.
And he would never consider moving to New York?
So at one point he talked about it on the show because she started crying one time when she was like, I have to leave my family. I have to leave everything I know. And she kind of started tearing up. He's like, baby, why are you crying? Like, if it comes down to it, I'll move to New York. And then she's like, I don't think he really meant it though. I don't think he really meant it.
That sucks.
I think, and then so now they're broken up, and So now it's like a whole thing because now he's trying to say like she's a different person. Because now more things are coming out about the relationship, a lot of the cracks. And I think a lot of the cracks were mostly about how successful she became. And her star was rising. And I think when you realize that, you know, the person that's supposed to be supporting you and your biggest cheerleader is actually like hoping for your downfall secretly.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, how can you really love that person anymore?
Yeah.
How can you really want to be with that person? Like, you don't even want the best for me.
Yeah. You should, your partner should rejoice in your success. And
you should be cheering me on.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Clapping on the sidelines. Not saying that you're going to be in the sidelines in your own respective career, but yeah, just like I come and support you, you come and support me.
And I think also, what this means is that I think when you are in love with someone and you're fully supportive, I think dreams can change. If I want to be with this person, I'm not saying now they could still have a family.
So somebody has to change.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like I said, her star is rising. She's focused on her career. It doesn't mean that you still can get married and have a family. You just have to readjust maybe the vision of what that means. And you guys will sit down and figure that out as like, hey, things are changing. We need to readjust. So for me, with him being so rigid, is it really about the person, or you just needed her to play a role in this life that you've imagined for yourself, and it doesn't really matter
and she
who plugs into that role?
She fit the role physically.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah.
I think he's always been extremely attracted to her.
Yeah. So yeah, I think maybe he has this picture in his mind, and he seemed like, okay, it's almost like he was casting for a movie that is his life, and she seemed like the perfect person, not taking into consideration her feelings, her wants, her needs. And people are allowed to change, and you can be upset that, hey, I thought we were on the same page about this. I totally get that part where like, hey, when we got together, you said you wanted this. I wanted the same thing. I thought we were building towards this dream.
But she's made it very clear that she's not ready for kids right this second. She's not ready to get married right this second. She's not ready to move to New York. So, I mean, to Charleston. So I'm just like, for me, but one thing she did say she was going to do, she's going to take the steps to freeze her eggs. For me, if I was Craig and I loved her, and one thing I just wanted to do is make sure I have this life with her, because it's, you know, you love her, so ultimately you want to be with the person you love, not just so you don't want to just have kids. You want to have kids with the person you love. Right. So she's taking the steps to make sure you have that part in your life that you want, but right now is not the time for her to stop. And I think it's just more, it's like, it's more is asked of us as women when it comes to more has to come from us, right? We're the ones birthing the child. So, and we're the ones that typically are the bread or they're going to take care of the child at home. Right. So I think for her, it wasn't fair for her at 33 or 34 for, you know, now because you want kids, I have to stop all this, even though everything's going great for me in my career. The only reason to stop would be you.
Yeah. The mommy
Do you
tax.
really want me to stop my dreams just to appease your dreams?
Yeah. And my question is, would he sacrifice his dreams in order to build a family?
And that's the thing, because, you know, he does have a business in Charleston, a pretty successful one. So I think, again, they would have to figure something out. Yeah. But I don't think he was willing. I think he was just ready. And I think that's fair. But it wasn't like he was the one that broke up with her. Yeah. Now he was not ready to let go of the relationship, even though he was the one that felt like something was lacking in the relationship.
Yeah. So, I mean, here's the thing. She does a podcast and she does a show, which is called Summer House. I'm assuming they just filmed during the summer.
They just filmed during the summer, but then she also has, she does like fashion blogs and stuff like that. So which
could totally still be done in South Carolina. The fashion, the podcast, I think she could still.
I think it's the traveling for the podcast. She just doesn't want to move. She does not want to. And don't get me wrong. Do I think that as the relationship went on, she was just not willing to sacrifice those things anymore? And I think it was because of the person she saw him. I think she slowly became uninvested, and he became more invested.
Oh, okay. They just want different things.
They want different things. I think and that's the thing. I think at first she was just like, I love him, and, you know, we're just not in the right place. And I think he kind of went, negative, and I don't think he's used to being broken up with. So I think it's a
yeah, I
thing.
think, I mean, dreams change,
Yeah, of course.
So I think for her, and then I don't think there's necessarily one person that's a good guy or a bad guy in this situation. It's just, it didn't work out.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Do I think he's a little bit of a hater? Yeah, probably. But do I think that he's not entitled to want what he wants? Of course he is. Mm-hmm. He wants to have kids.
Yeah.
You want to settle down. You want a Southern Belle. Unfortunately, the person you fell in love with is not that person. So what do you do now?
Yeah.
You can't be, hey, because Paige is never a Southern girl. She's always a New Yorker.
And here's the thing is, like, what you're asking for is not for anyone you end up with, whether it's Paige or someone else. You're not asking a small thing. It requires, it completely change your life. You literally, when you're talking about having children, you're literally putting your life on the line. Because
really, low key,
anything can happen, and it can I mean, even if everything goes perfect, it changes who you are physically. Who you are physically. It wreaks havoc. I'm just like, I don't know what I was watching, but I'm just like, do you realize when a woman gives birth that she technically has when she delivers the baby plus the placenta, that in her uterus she has a wound the size of a dinner plate that usually takes about 6 months to fully heal. And I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
Like,
the woman's body does a lot.
It does a lot.
I mean, it does, even before you have kids, it's doing a lot.
Yeah. And I was just like, to
be able to prepare to make life.
Yeah. And I was just like, really? I'm like, dang, that's a lot. And so your body's working overtime on top of taking care of a newborn child to heal physically. So there's lack of sleep. Your hormones are out of whack. So emotionally, it takes a toll. There's a lot. So it's just like what you're asking. I don't think people realize, like, when women go through that, you're asking they're sacrificing a lot. I don't think that it's acknowledged enough.
Yeah, and I think Paige tried to get him to see that she would be changing a lot. Mm-hmm. But then a part of me is like, he has waited a long time. Because, I mean, they've been together a good 5 years, probably. 4? 4? COVID. Damn. They were together.
Pre-COVID or after
I think
COVID?
right before COVID.
Okay.
Maybe so right before. Because I think, I'm lying. It was after COVID. It was like, it's definitely after COVID. So probably like 2022. Got together because she was with somebody else during COVID. So my whole point really is that, for her, I think she made a lot of sacrifices, or she was prepared to make a lot of sacrifices. She decided those things she did not want to happen right now. Mm-hmm. And I think he started to get more and more resentful of her. And I think he did start to hate on her career and things she was gaining and doing well at, because I think he saw it as it was getting further and further away from what he wanted. Because I just don't see her. I don't think she ever would have moved to Charleston. I think that was almost like a wishful thinking on her part.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think she ever wanted to do.
There's a big difference between New York City and Charleston, South Carolina.
A real compromise if they would have moved somewhere together. Both of them left their comfort zone.
Oh yeah.
That would have been probably
maybe somewhere in between.
Yeah, or somewhere like maybe like you both enjoy, you go there a lot together, or you have family there, but it's not necessarily where you guys grew up.
True.
Yeah, because that's a lot. I mean, somebody's gonna have to make a sacrifice in that situation, and the sacrifice would be big.
Did they talk about that, or they had agreed that she would move to South Carolina?
They did agree in the show that eventually she would move to South Carolina. Ugh. And I think as time went on, she just did not want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think
I get it.
And she's the one that ended the relationship. And I think it was ultimately because she was like, I can't give you what you want.
Yeah. Which is good.
I don't see myself slowing down. I don't want to stop you from what you want. Yeah, and it's a little bit negative in the press between the two because I think he just said she's completely different from the person he fell in love with, and she probably is, because to her point, she
grew up, she evolved.
Yeah, you met her when she was in her I think like mid-20s, like, or no, probably like late 20s.
I think people have the capacity to change and grow at any age, but I'm just like, yeah.
But that's when we do our most changing is that
that's true.
Our young adulthood into like mid adulthood. That's the biggest. That's when you really figure out like what you're made of, and when problems arise, how do you solve them? It's like it's that moment where you're like. They're like, oh my God, I get the adult. And you're like, oh fuck.
It's on me. It's all on me.
I'm the adult in the room. Yeah. So
which is surprising because I'm just like, I've never been to South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina.
I've been to South Carolina though.
But I will have to say is there's a big difference between Charleston, South Carolina, and New York City. I don't think if I grew up in New York City,
change for either one of them,
and had a whole lot of family in New York City, I don't think I could seem like in fact, I was talking about this with Stacy that, I mean, if I've met someone and I said, now don't get me wrong, I hate the state of Texas with the passion. And the only thing,
not with the passion,
the only thing that keeps me here really is I don't think I could ever not have my family around all the time, where I'm like, I can get in my car and go and drive and see you or Stacy.
That's why I don't think I would move. I
would. And I said, but if I met someone, one of the two places I would move, I would definitely move to New York City, Manhattan, that area, not anywhere else in New York. And I would move to anywhere in California. I'm like, as long as I had somebody that I could experience that with, where I wasn't alone. I'd be in California.
I mean, to be fair, if I fell in love, I mean, I would pretty much live anywhere with somebody I love.
No.
Yeah, I would.
It has to be worth it. I don't.
So that's still about you though. Like, what if you have a man and he's like, I got a job in,
Duke, Montana. Yeah. I'm like, oh shit.
You can't just say no.
I'm like,
that's not a relationship.
Oh my God. You're talking about I have to,
because now you're living for two people. It's not just about you.
That's true. It's true. I'm living for two people. So for me, like I said, I'm not particularly attached to Texas itself. I'm attached to the people here. So
you're
my
attached
family.
To the people.
I'm attached to my family. So to get
it would only be something if like I actually do want to live there, so I will make that sacrifice for you.
So for me, where you're talking about, you're asking me to, like I said, the place itself of Texas or Dallas, or even if I move somewhere else in Texas, Texas itself is not appealing. Hold on, let me finish. The Texas itself is not appealing to me as a place. So what keeps me here is my family. So for me to, like I said, I'm not attached to the person, I'm attached to the people. So for me to make that sacrifice to cut that connection as far as somebody I can see people I can see every day. And like I said, if I need to get in my car and go and drive and see somebody, I can do that. It's going to have to be a place that I would love to live.
So for me, then that's not a sacrifice, because you would go there. You just need the comfort of having somebody else there with you. So it's not a sacrifice. You're getting to go somewhere you want to live.
Right.
So it's not a sacrifice. You've made no sacrifice.
Okay. Then I'm not willing.
So you're not willing to make a sacrifice for your
sacrifice. No.
So you would never move?
I would move, like I said,
but only to places that you would enjoy.
Like I said, because like I said, I'm not in particularly
so the movie
in
would
love.
Not be for the person at all. It would be only for your own. So you wouldn't make that sacrifice for somebody you love?
Like I said, if I love this person,
because remember, this is somebody you love. It wouldn't just be
right
somebody telling you to go move there. It would be for the man you love.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Technically, would be your best friend. So
I get what you're saying, but I think that, like I said,
I'm
not in love with Texas. And as much as I love someone, I don't think and like I said, I do have comfort. It's familiar. This is the place I've lived the longest is Texas. And like I said, I do have family here. I do have family in New York. I even have family in Chicago. I have family in Florida. I have family in Atlanta. Would I move to Atlanta? No, because then like there's certain criteria for places that I live that I would love. I like the good weather that California has. It's a very liberal. It's a blue state. I was just like, I feel like.
Well, I think what we're posing the question. So again, let's say you're in this situation as Paige is in, but it's not Charleston. Maybe it is Charleston, North Carolina or South Carolina. Would you move?
Here's the thing.
So the answer is no. And the answer would be no.
So here's the thing.
Because of the fact that you're saying that because you're not taking me somewhere I like, because I would not be comfortable, the answer is no.
What I'm saying is when it comes to where I want to lay my head and call home, that's something that's very important to me. And so for me, yes, I do love you. I don't think if I live in Dallas and you're in Charleston, South Carolina, we probably wouldn't even start a relationship to begin with.
But I'm saying, what if he gets a job and he's like, hey, babe, we got to move?
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Because now it won't just be about what you want. It would be what's best for you and your family. Because now two of you would be a family.
There is, don't get me wrong.
Now, yes, to your point, Paige and Craig, they were in different states when they met. So you know automatically. Which I don't know, Julian. Somebody like you met somebody that just blew you away.
If they blew me away and they're like, hey, let's go live.
Because it's not like all these great men are just falling out the woodworks.
Okay, so if it's for a great guy, and like I said, but you want me to move into middle of nowhere, I'm not a country girl.
It wouldn't be a fun thing. It would be I would say for me, it would just depend on the relationship. It would depend on the foundation of the relationship. How are we together? Do I feel like it's a healthy relationship? Yeah, like in my past and my other relationships, probably not, because they weren't the healthiest relationships. Yeah. So yes, moving away from my family would be scary. But if it's somebody I'm like the love of my life, it's my best friend, we do everything together, and this is what he needs to do for his career, yeah, I would do it. Okay. Especially because I would have you. You're my best friend. You're my person.
Yeah. No, I get that part. And I guess for me personally, when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to when I say that I'm not really attached to Texas, it really comes down to the politics of Texas. I don't see this as a good place to raise a family. Oh, okay. That's just not saying that this place doesn't have really great people, doesn't have really great culture, the weather is not super crappy or anything like that. We every once in a while we'll have bad weather every once in a while. So it really comes down to the politics. So I said that I'm definitely not moving to a red state. It has to be blue or at least purple state. And I think that part is really important to me. Purple. And I feel like, and then like you said, I am, and that's why I think I love living in Dallas, where even though I'm out in the suburbs, that 30 minutes away, I'm in the city, and I can go and enjoy all that stuff. But if you're asking me to live in the middle of nowhere in Montana,
for me, it'd be like, if that's so important to you, why haven't you made the efforts to potentially move away from Texas?
I guess what I would say is that, when you're somebody, there's also a certain lifestyle that I want to live. And like you said, for some people, live in the middle of nowhere and
sacrifices, though.
Sometimes
you have to sacrifice to get to your ultimate goals.
Sometimes, and I'm just like, there's some sacrifice I don't think I'm not willing to make. And I'm like, there's some people who go, anyone's seen the show Yellowstone and seen, they're in Montana and they have that wide open spaces and they, they're roughing it, not really roughing it, because they have really nice, this particular person is really wealthy, so they have a nice house. That doesn't appeal to me at all.
I would tell you, I would do a lot for love. I would do a lot for love. Like real love, somebody like, yeah.
Okay.
I would do a lot for that.
I guess I just haven't felt that immense love that I'm like, I would live with you anywhere.
Yeah, that's ultimately the feeling you're looking for, like the person you would literally sleep in a cardboard box with. Like,
Okay.
obviously, I don't want to sleep in a cardboard box.
I don't
Please
either.
do not put me in a cardboard box. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's the feeling I'm chasing, and if you don't give me that feeling, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
want it.
yeah. And I think I have certain dreams and certain
Sure.
visions I want for my life. And there's
Yeah.
certain lifestyle that I want to live. And so I guess what you're asking me is, am I willing to give up those?
Well, I think
Dreams
the whole point is
for someone.
that's what that Craig was ultimately asking Paige to do, is give up. He's asking her to give up a lot of her dreams to make his dreams happen.
Okay.
And I feel like because she did not see him as the love of her life and the person she can't live without, she never made that sacrifice.
But
Because for me, to your point, she can travel for that podcast anywhere. She can do the fashion stuff anywhere. She can do a lot of stuff anywhere. She's choosing not to. He has a brick and mortar business. We're in South Carolina. So again,
I guess in my humble opinion, I feel like I don't think we should give up our hopes and dreams for anyone either. Whether it's the love of your life,
well, everybody.
or not.
So the thing about it is, when it comes to a relationship and two people, somebody's gonna have to give up. It doesn't always happen that you can have your dreams at the exact same time. I mean, sometimes they will conflict, and that's the whole point of.
I get that. It's just like when it comes, I guess for me,
I'm not
I
saying
don't
give
want
up
to.
a good life, but I'm saying again, if.
Why do I have?
Speaking of, I was just watching One Tree Hill, right? Like Haley and Nathan, there was no way for them to both have their dreams at the same time. Now, did they have to walk away from each other at certain points while they were having their dream? Yes, but they ultimately always came back to each other, and there were times where both of them were willing to sacrifice their dream so the other could have their dream, because they're supposed to love the idea is you're supposed to love somebody so much that you'll do anything for them. You know, of course you don't want to resent people, but in that particular situation, which I would think happens quite a bit, you know, you can't have this life that they wanted and have their dreams. You have to choose. And sometimes you have to put your dream on the back burner for a little bit while your partner gets theirs.
Well, I understand that if but
I'm not saying give up on your dream.
To eventually, you'll have your turn
get
and
rid of my dream, right?
Yeah,
like
you'll have your turn and I'll have my turn, and I get that
but
part.
it's two people.
But
they
I'm just
can't
what
both
I'm
be
saying.
living their
I
dream.
guess what I am not willing to do is live at a half measure, and what is like I said, if you've gone to school, you've worked for this career. Why is it that I'm giving up everything that I've worked for so you can achieve your dreams?
I wouldn't say it shouldn't be that I have to give up my stuff. It would be like, when we sit down together, what makes the most sense?
Okay.
That's what it should be. You're
Right.
in a relation. It's no longer just, this is what I want. What do we want?
I guess
because we're not, it's no longer, because you know, when it comes to relationship, a big part of it is sacrifice.
And here's what I'm trying to say is that it's not like I'm giving up 50%, you're giving up 50%, so now we can have this new vision, this new dream. You're asking me to give up 100% so you can have 100% what you want. And that's what I feel. I guess that's where
I've never said you have to give up
conflict.
100% of what you want. But there might be something you have to sacrifice for now.
Okay. So I guess that's how I was thinking it when I say sacrifice.
I don't have to give up every single thing I've ever wanted for my life.
Okay.
Like, that's ridiculous. That would also not be a compromise in a relationship. And then at the same time, how could you look at me as a person that you're in love with but want me to just give up? Do you even really love me?
Yeah. I guess that's what I'm saying. I feel like, and like I said, this is coming from a woman's perspective, where I feel like the only person that was having to sacrifice was this particular
Paige.
Was Paige. And so I'm like, okay, if I'm sacrificing X, Y, and Z, maybe not everything X, Y, and Z, but you're getting to have everything that you want. You don't have to give up anything.
Sure.
I guess that's what I'm feeling it's unfair.
And I think, yes, in that sense, it's unfair, and he shouldn't ask her to give it up, but he also should just go ahead and he should have let her go. Mm-hmm. And that's why she ended up letting him go. Hey, I love you so much, but I want you to have what you want, and I can't give that to you.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that's what she did. I don't think that's how he sees it, because I can't just have kids because you want me to have kids. And I know that's what I said in the beginning, but that's now no longer where I'm at. People change, people evolve. So you should either you have to put that dream on the back burner, or you should be like, hey, you know what? I don't want you to give up these things, but I have to move on.
Yeah.
It's time for me to move on.
Yeah.
And I think because she said she's still in love with him. She loves him, but she's like, I can't give him what he wants.
Yeah.
And that's really what love's about.
Yeah. And I think that's maturity as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes people aren't meant to be.
I think he's just the type of guy that's just used to getting what he wants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's where the disconnect is happening. I feel like one person is making all the sacrifices while the other person is not. Yeah. And that's
she would have had to give up a lot more. But again, to your point, she wasn't giving up everything because she could have those things, but she would have to move.
Yeah.
And but I think that would have been the first change for her that she could have made a compromise on is, hey, I'm not ready to have kids right now, but I'll go ahead and move. But she wasn't willing to do that. And that's fine, which is why she said, I have to let you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I mean, that's just a random topic, but I felt like it was an important one to talk about because I thought it was really interesting because I can tell these two people do love each other still. It's just... It's not going to work out based off of just different things in their lives. I mean, I think I've had people who I really care about. It's just not going to work out.
Yeah.
You know,
and just to clarify as far as what my opinion, it's like, I understand making sacrifices when you love someone. My thing is that I don't want to feel like I'm the only one making sacrifices.
No, nobody wants to feel that way.
Would I be happy about moving to the middle of nowhere so this person can advance their career?
I wouldn't either.
But I need to be getting, I feel like for giving up X, Y, and Z, I feel like I should be getting something in return as well.
Trust me, if I'm in the middle of Timbuktu, I'm online shopping, I'm chilling. I'll get mine. Yeah, I'm not going to be over here just suffering.
Yeah. So yeah, don't feel like I feel like sometimes I've come off as a selfish person, and it's just not. It's just like,
and she's so not. She's like the
it's just like
opposite
it's just not. And like I said, for me, when it comes to, like I said, I'm just
set in my ways, and you probably are too.
There's a lot of places I would move to. I just have my hierarchy of places that I would absolutely be absolutely in love with. Fall in love with moving to.
And so that's what I'm saying. Really,
to be able to give up Texas.
That would be like hey, you got thrown a bone. You finally get to move where you want. That would almost be like a win for you. Win-win.
Yeah.
And my man got a new job. I'm moving to the city I want. I'm winning. I ain't sacrificing shit.
When I'm telling you, if he said, let's move to, California, let's say LA, Santa Monica, whatever, or San Diego or whatever, to tell you, I love y'all. I do. I love my family. I love y'all to death.
Yeah, you make decisions
when I
and
tell
live life
you,
for yourself, girl.
I would pack my shit so fast and be gone. I'd be gone. Like, same thing with you. I think I've always said that I would love to experience and live in New York City, like Manhattan and all that stuff. But the weather, I couldn't see myself living there for a long period of time.
Oh, cold.
Because of how cold it gets.
Yeah, no. I personally, at this point in time, I couldn't see myself living anywhere other than Texas, but I'm not saying I wouldn't. I literally don't even know what that would look like because I never lived anywhere else. Yeah. Like in my adult,
and like I said, there's
that I can remember.
Yeah, when it comes to Texas, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of stuff to love about Texas. Like I said, some people call it boring. I'm like, no, there's a lot of stuff to do here. You just have to sit down and be willing to find those places, those niche places to
we need to go to the winery.
But yeah, Texas is a really big state with just a lot of fun things to do. But when it comes, it really comes down to the politics. It's been a very couple decades where I feel like we keep going in the wrong direction when it comes to politics.
Girl, you said a couple decades.
Yeah.
Girl, you so crazy. Your whole life. Duh.
Yeah.
I was like, what you mean?
When we first moved here, they had a Democratic governor.
Jillian.
And Richards.
You're talking about when you were 10 years old? You remember what was going on in politics at 10?
Yes.
Girl, no, you don't. Stop.
I remember.
Jillian, stop.
Janice.
Stop it.
Yes.
Girl, you were not into politics at 10 years old. Stop.
Yes.
Jillian, stop it.
Yes.
Jillian, stop it. Maybe you went back and read up on it, but you don't remember the benefits of that life. Girl, you were... Bye.
Janice, don't play with me.
No, I ain't playing with you. Shit, you were 9.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I remember when George Bush was governor.
When was that, Jillian?
When was that? Before 2000, because Bush got elected in 2000.
That's exactly my whole point.
Late
Girl, you were a
90s.
child.
I graduated
You
in
were
01.
a young child. The last time we had a Democratic governor. A young child.
Don't say it like that.
Young.
Yeah.
Girl. Elementary school.
Yeah, I graduated high school in
But Jillian
2001.
trying to act like, yeah, I really love the politics then.
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, right now, just because of things that the Republican Party here in Texas has done, I feel like the state is going in the wrong direction. Living in...
Okay, and my difference is I never saw it going in the right direction because I never experienced it. I've only ever experienced a red state.
I feel it's gotten worse. It's definitely gotten worse. So, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I did move to didn't we move to a city that was literally called the Coons? And I was one of like 3 black students in the entire school. I don't know if it got worse.
No, I'm talking about the politics. I'm like,
politics were bad then too.
I'm talking
You're
about
allowing people to be called coons.
I feel like there was a difference between George Bush versus Greg Abbott.
Of course,
like,
nobody likes him.
I'm not saying George Bush wasn't bad for the state of Texas. I'm just saying I feel like Greg Abbott. I think for each governor, who was between Bush and Abbott? I can't remember his name.
I don't know.
He kind of faded off into non-existence. I feel like it becomes more and more extreme, and I'm just like, man, I personally, I honestly, I do not think I could raise a family here.
Well, anyways, girl, just talking about politics and stuff. I don't know how we got into this, but
I'm just saying, I do, like I said, I do love the state of Texas as far as, like I said, the weather, the people.
Jillian just wants to say she's not a selfish person. She does love.
But when it comes to the politics, that is what I cannot stand here in the state of Texas, and I would give it up in a heartbeat because of the politics. Other than that, the food, the people, the weather, everything else, I do love about the state of Texas. So.
Okay. Well, girl. Anyway, so I think we already had our final thoughts on it all, really. But yeah, at the end of the day, girls, y'all don't give up your dreams, okay? Paige didn't have to. You don't have to either. Yeah. But at the same time, compromise is a part of a relationship. That's all I have to say. So
just don't make sure you're not sacrificing too much.
I mean, you ain't got to keep tally because you shouldn't. But at the end of the day, just make sure that these choices you're making in your life, you're making them for you together and not just from one individual.
And you can live with the outcome.
Exactly. Yep. Alrighty, guys. Well, that was I think it was just a little bit more of a random topic that we've had, but I thought it was pretty interesting. So I wanted to talk about it. But we thank you guys so much for listening. We're going to get out of here and we hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Bye.
Bye.
And that's a wrap on the latest episode of Let Me Finish. Thank you guys for joining us for another week and listening to the latest episode. Don't forget, go like, share, and subscribe on your favorite platforms. And you guys can also follow us and see us on different platforms. I am on Instagram, and that's going to be Uniquely Janice. And then I'll also be on TikTok, Janice H, GENICEH. Michael, where can they find you?
I'm only on Instagram, and it's Kasra Salimi. And by Kasra Salimi, I mean Kasra Writes, because I changed it and I just forgot. So it's KASRA Writes, WRITES.
Yes. Jillian, where can we find you?
Instagram as well, and it's New Jillian Who Dis.
New Jillian Who Dis. All right, well, we will talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.